life has a way of piling up, work, school, university, responsibilities, and always those quiet worries going on in the back of your mind. You find yourself thinking, am I enough? Am I doing enough? What I've discovered in the Quaker way is this: you are enough. And it's not because of what you've achieved, but because there's something of the divine, a light already within you. Now, this inward light is more than just comfort. It shows us our worth, yes, but it also shines on places that maybe need tending to, maybe a call for change. And that change doesn't mean becoming someone else, but becoming more truly ourselves. And in this video, I want to show how that balance of being accepted and also invited to grow has really affected my Quaker experience and how it might speak to you too. A couple of months ago now, I chatted with Lindsay, the Frugal Quaker. Please do check that out. That was a fascinating discussion. And many things stayed in my mind, but the one thing that has stayed in my mind ever since that chat was that Lindsay felt that Quakerism allowed her to be more truly herself. And it's really stayed with me. I suppose it might stick with me as well because another really important phrase throughout my adult life has been that phrase from Saint Irenaeus that said, "The glory of God is a man fully alive." Obviously, the word God, the word man, we might need to replace, but I think the sentiment is still there. And I'm very fascinated with this idea of how Quakerism helps you do that, helps you realize that you're enough, helps you realize who you are, and finally what you might need to do in order to be fully yourself. You might need to change. It might not be comfortable, that change, but it's all about this reinvention, this spiritual awakening in order to become truly who you are meant to be. With the glory of God there, I think that just means that's the highest ideal. That's what we want to achieve. We want to be fully alive. Everyone wants to be fully alive, but I think not everyone knows how to get there. And I think Quakerism gives a really good model as to how you can achieve it in a way that's not dictatorial or makes you feel anxious or guilty about where you currently are. So there are two Quaker phrases which I think are really helpful in this regard. The first one is the idea of the inward light or the inner light. And this has been fundamental to Quaker theology right from the get-go. This idea that we have this ability to commune with the divine and that the divine wants to communicate with us. And that because of that, we're of infinite worth because we have this connection. And we all do. And that has then obviously led to the Quaker ideas of peace and nonviolence. But I think from a psychological perspective, I think it's also really powerful that we are not alone and that we've got this ability to talk to someone who wants nothing but our good. The other phrase is, there is that of God in everyone, this same sort of idea. So you're of infinite worth, but not because of your achievements, but simply because you are who you are. But who are you? In my opinion, I think that Quakerism allows that journey to maybe really take place in the now, and that this is a transformative experience. You're not meant to change just like that. You're not meant to go to a priest and tell them all the things that you've done wrong and they tell you what you should do. That's not it at all. It's this is where I am now. You bring that to your discussion, to this communion with the divine, and you listen for a response, and you reorientate your life so that you are better fitted to listen to that response. But sometimes you're sitting in meeting, and that calm that you feel, I think, is the stripping away of all the stresses and all the worries that come in today's modern world. You can be facetious about that and say, oh, well, of course, yes, well, you can do that with anything. But I don't think we can take that for granted because I don't think that's the experience for most people in the modern world. I think that recognition that I am enough, this is all that is truly important, that I'm listening to the divine, that I'm upholding those that matter to me and what matters to me, and I'm bringing that to a higher power. Everything else is just a distraction, and I think that's really put into perspective when you go to a Quaker meeting. When you start thinking about things that maybe you haven't thought about before, not because they're not really important to you, but you just maybe haven't been given the time, but you have the time to think about things that are important to you. What do you think the world should be like? How should the world be better? And what can you do? And you might go out and do these things and feel really you in a way that you wouldn't have been able to perhaps otherwise. I think what a lot of people might miss out on, though, is that this inward light isn't just simply, I heard it described once as this little light of mine, the hymn. It makes it sound really cozy, a really cozy affirmation. It is that. But what early friends often used when they were talking about this light was not simply the light that keeps you warm, but the light that like looks in and sees maybe the darkness there and sees maybe the things that might need to change as well. It's both of these things. And so that does mean that change does need to happen. And, the human condition is very good at avoiding things that we don't want to deal with, right? And, whether that's something that you need to do, maybe someone that you need to get in contact with, someone you'd like to do more for, or maybe an area of society which you want to maybe do more to support and maybe you aren't. All these things and more. And the thing is, we leave those things because they might be difficult, they might be hard, we might not know how to proceed. But we also know that if we were to deal with these things, we would be more ourselves, we'd be happier because we don't have these pressures of feeling like we have to do these things because we are doing them. But also, by doing these things, we are more ourselves. We have these niggles because we know that these are these things that we want to do, or we want to be better at, or we want to see more in the world. And so when we actively do that, we are being more of ourselves. And so I'm not saying that you need to change, otherwise you're not enough. I'm saying you are enough. I'm saying that in order to be fully alive, you might just need to be enough in a strictly you sense. And you might not feel that you've been able to because of society or whatever, but do it, because that's often what the inward light is asking you to do. When thinking about this, as I often do when I'm doing these videos, is I do think about the Quaker Testament. Now, not to say that the Quaker Testament is the be all and end all and everything must fit with these, but it's just funny that most things that are important to people and most things that are important to Quakerism tend to fit quite nicely in these categories with simplicity. As I said, there's so many thoughts that we have that might just be getting in the way. There might be things, literally, physically, maybe, perhaps in your life, which are getting in the way, that might make you doubt yourself and your self-confidence and your self-worth. Are they important? Do they need to be there? That's what simplicity asks. Truth asks you to be truthful with yourself. Am I really this person? Am I living in line with how I really believe I ought to? Am I the same person in private as I am in public? That could be a really difficult thing to answer for some people, and I get that. But this is sort of the two sides of this affirmation versus invitation to change. Equality, I think, is equally important, because it's asking you to say, well, if I'm enough, then everyone else is enough as well. This isn't some ego trip or something. This is something where if I'm enough, then everyone else is enough as well. How am I engaging with these people? And finally, peace. I think this is fundamentally what I want this video to be about, is that you are enough. And so all this striving and all this worrying and all this concern about who am I actually, and all these things, bring it to the light, bring it to this conversation with the divine, and find peace there, because you are enough in doing what you're trying to do. Maybe you just need to make peace with that. We also see that in Quaker practice as well, the idea that there is no hierarchy in Quakerism. There's no one person above anyone else. There's which so we don't see in society as large. There's always a boss. There's always someone above you. Whereas in Quakerism, we don't have that. So this integral worth and value of everyone is played out in our society. We are all worthwhile. And because of that, no one can be on top of each other. That's why we work communally, in order to try and find the best way forward through discernment, instead of saying, well, I'm the leader, I think we need to do this. It means when you're talking to people as well, I've often felt this after meeting, for example, when you're just talking with friends, I feel that it's such a freeing experience, because you're talking to people really openly, really unguardedly, I suppose, and really honestly. And I think that comes with this feeling that you feel in meeting that you're enough. And I just wonder, what would it be like if this could be played out on large, and that of God within you means that you have the ability not only to be comforted in that fact, but also gives you, as I said, that invitation to grow. And I think what Quakerism has allowed me to see is the two sides of that coin, and that isn't a negative thing, but both these are thoroughly positive. And the good news is you don't have to do it all in one go. This could be a life's journey to discover who you are, a little bit more simplicity in your life, a little bit more truth in your life, and so on. These things can be steps along that journey. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. See you later.
Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked it, please do click on the thumbs up and the subscribe button to get more videos about Quakerism in the UK today. It really does help, and thanks once again.